This video is part of our series on strategies for verifying trig identities. However, this video will not highlight a new strategy. Rather, it will talk specifically about choosing between the strategies that you know. Once you are familiar with a bunch of different strategies, the trickiest part of starting any new problem is deciding which strategy to use and when. This video will talk about choosing among three strategies: rewriting all terms in terms of sine and cosine, simplifying using a Pythagorean identity, and multiplying out a factored expression. We're going to start with an example where any of those three strategies could be a plausible first step. The identity we're going to verify is cosine squared theta times the product of 1 plus tan squared theta, and we have to show that equals 1. So on my left-hand side, I see a tan squared theta, which I could easily rewrite in terms of sine and cosine. I see a factored expression, the cosine outside of the parentheses, so I could certainly multiply that out. And what you might not have seen right off the bat, but is also true, is that 1 plus tangent squared theta is a Pythagorean identity. So if you notice that 1 plus tangent squared theta is a Pythagorean identity, that's 1/2 of the 1 plus tan squared equals secant squared identity, you can make a very easy substitution right at the beginning. You can take away that parentheses and insert a secant squared theta instead. Notice that I did this without turning tangent squared into sine squared over cosine squared and without distributing that cosine squared through the parentheses. This works out pretty well because then in my second line, I can use one of our other strategies, rewriting everything in terms of sine and cosine, to write secant squared as 1 over cosine squared, carrying the squared with it. And then the cosine squared on the top will cancel with the cosine squared on the bottom, giving us the one that we need. Now, if you had started this problem by rewriting everything in terms of sine and cosine, it probably would have worked out fine, as would it have worked out if you had distributed. You would have just taken a slightly different path to the same answer. However, you want to be careful because some paths do lead to dead ends, and some paths are much more efficient than others. So, when you start a problem, you want to consider your given information and your list of strategies carefully and think about what might happen if you try each one. It's even fine to try starting a problem a few different ways and see which one seems to be working out in the simplest way. And if you get stuck, just scrap all your work and try another strategy. If you keep trying things, you will get it eventually. Keep a positive attitude, and remember, you can do it.